they actually talked about our job loss and how, this is how deep these got, how we would react to our job loss. It's an essay entitled Tech and Anger or AI and Anger or something. And it's like, the people are going to be angry. It'll be like the Industrial Revolution. They're going to be mad that their jobs are being taken, but you need to like plow through because, you know, robots don't take vacations and robots don't have fights with their spouses. And, you know, robots are ultimately going to do a better job. So you just have to like keep going with the plan.
You're listening to the Art and More podcast with your hosts, Nathan and BR. Nathan is a Canadian illustrator with a couple years of military experience, and BR is a British anarchist that moved to the States. Both are passionate shooters and community builders. Together, they run the Seaburn Art page. Enjoy the show.
Hey guys, welcome back to the Art and War podcast. We are here with our friend Amanda Palasciano. Is that how you pronounce your name? I'm sorry, I'm not Italian.
I think that's close enough. Palasciano, if you want to get fancy.
Yes. I feel like I can describe you in what I understand as a journalist that has been covering AI and big tech, and sort of like I discovered you in a comment section, and then I went to your page and I'm like, wow, you're fascinating and you know way more about the stuff we've literally been talking about on this show than I mean that is your job after all. So can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I live in comment sections. I actually was a former journalist. So this is where it starts to get interesting. I left journalism probably about 13 years ago because I found it to be so corrupt and vowed I'd never return. And I've worked in the ad business, ad tech actually, the last 13 years. Well, started in real ad business, like Madison Ave, real advertising, commercials, billboards, et cetera, which then like slowly migrated to just forcing digital down everyone's throats and making them do a lot more like Meta ads and, you know, Google ads, and that's just where the business morphed to. So I've been in that for the better part of the last 13 years. What made me sort of return to journalism this past, actually 2026 really, and leave corporate altogether is basically all the nefarious stuff I found going on with AI. And it just got to the point where I was like, I can't be quiet anymore.
Yeah, which I appreciate. Seeing your content and just the way that things are. I apologize in advance. I'm going to be really ADHD. Like, I realize you probably haven't listened to any of these.
But, I'm very ADHD. Don't feel bad.
Okay, good. Speaking of advertising and like the advertising industrial complex, I've been watching this series online, and I don't know if you've seen it. It's the guy's username, and it's really entertaining, but it's mostly horrifying. Neural Network is the guy's username. Neural Network reads the Bible, I think, in one word is his username. But he has a series right now where he is just kind of gang stalking his neighbors, but only using the terms of service that Amazon lets people do. And the whole thing is to raise awareness of how invasive Amazon is.
I worked for Amazon corporate, so that's particularly interesting to me. I was a creative director for Amazon. So
really?
I've worked for all of them. I've worked for Amazon. I've worked for Walmart, Mattel, Chewy, Wayfair, Hey Dude, Crocs, you name it. I have run their messaging. Yeah. So I was kind of like, you know, I think, not to at all digress from what you're saying, but I think that's where a lot of that's where part of the bitterness and angst comes in, is I had just hit the very top of my field. Like I, was globally running the messaging for major, major brands, and AI just kind of came and clubbed everyone at the knees, overnight, and was like, hi, writers, you don't work anymore. And, that's terrible. I think that's terrible on all sides. That's terrible for the writers that just, graduated college for this and were just entering as a junior copywriter. I feel for them deeply, but it was also terrible for the people like myself who had climbed this ladder for, decades. And it was just like, bye-bye. I worked for Amazon corporate. I was a creative director for them during COVID, in the heart of COVID. That's a whole other story.
How?
But I can, oh, the things that the things that even went on, um, for me personally, just through that hiring process. I got hired. I got hired and flown out to Seattle. Well, actually, I got flown out to Seattle for a 6 hour interview before COVID hit the United States. So right in the throes of that, when it had just hit China, and I had come home and was ultra sick, and the reports came out that it had broken in Seattle, and it had broken in the Amazon building that I was in. And
Huh.
this was week one, and so it was crazy. I called my doctor. I was living in Nashville at the time, still am, but there's been some movement for jobs in between. But I had called my doctor at the time. I was like, "Is there any chance that that's what this is?" He's like, "I don't think so. That's all the way in Seattle." I was like, "Yeah, I was just there." And he's like, "Well, I don't know. That was in this particular Amazon building with like pretty high security." And I was like, "Nope, was in that building 6 hours." And so the CDC put me on a 48-hour hold or 72-hour hold, something like that. This is
Holy crap.
literally, yeah, at the very beginning, like week one. And they finally called me back and they cleared me. And they said, well, we don't have anybody in Tennessee yet. There's no cases in Tennessee. There's no patient zero here. And you don't have a fever. I didn't have a fever, but I was very, very ill. And I had
Yeah.
to fly to Philadelphia for my grandmother's funeral, actually. It was a whole terrible time. And they cleared me to fly. And as soon as I landed in Philly, the news broke that there was cases in Tennessee, in my county, the first of
Oh
the
no.
reporting. And I was like, great, now I've gone through like multiple airports. So that was a piece of it. Anyways, in the meantime, I get hired on for this job, and they had me moving and reloading to Seattle for it. And so I got rid of my apartment in Nashville, shut down everything, shut down my utilities, everything. And I was driving to Washington, literally on my way. Had four
That
hotels
is quite
booked.
a drive. Like I've made that drive. It's awful.
Well, I wouldn't know because as soon as I left, they shut the state of Washington and I didn't get to move.
Oh
And
man.
so, yeah. So they were like, all right, we don't know what to do with you. Hold tight. And I went into interim housing back in Tennessee in my town. I was like, okay, now all my utilities are shut. I don't even have electric. I can't stay here. So I went into interim housing. Anyway, there was a back and forth for the first, I'm going to say, and obviously, like, there was a lot of things nobody knew how to handle at the time, but
Yeah.
there was a lot of back and forth. Like, I had a lease that I had to break in Seattle. There was so much that wound up on my dime through that moving, not moving, moving, not moving, take interim housing, don't take interim housing. I had to reverse plan so many times and they did not reimburse any of that. It was like a hellscape. And then, anyways, I worked through that peak. Um, Regardless, I stayed remote and I worked through that peak. And my responsibility really was to help the narrative of Amazon workers, which is an interesting thing. What was going on in the warehouses, how to get people hired, what an essential worker meant, sort of pull those emotional strings. And I mean, it was pretty crazy. We got, we had to get 6 million ads seen to get 1.6 million people hired at the height of when nobody wanted to work and frankly really didn't have to. And it was not normal. It was not a normal experience. Advertising in and of itself, to sort of loop back around to where
Of
this
course.
started, it's not normal. It's not anymore. I don't know that it ever was. Just I know the history of it pretty well, and it's pretty dark from since the beginning. And
Yeah.
I always had a problem with pushing certain things. Like I won't work for pharma. I won't work for alcohol. I won't work for gambling. That's not to say I'm against those things. It's to say I know what those roads can cause, and I just don't want to be part of the, romance of it.
Yeah.
So advertising's a dark place, man. And it's just with digital, it's gotten a lot darker. So I left.
Yeah, I can't blame you. It's seeing the machinations of how advertising is specifically the very personally targeted advertising these
Oh,
days
yeah.
work. and the very individual algorithms that are made, even pre AI. I think this stuff has existed and it's getting
It's a very long time.
refined.
It's been
Yeah.
going a very long time. And what's worse than that, and you'll see a lot on my page, and yes, my page was driven, the impetus was AI, but when I dug, that I've brought the Epstein files into this a lot, and I've seen a lot of the history and a lot of the planning. When I dug into
Yeah.
that planning, when you realize that algorithmically this was not an organic progress that was made, like, hey, we found out that when we target, this happens and this happens, and let's just, keep going for the sake of money, and that's, that's how business works. It wasn't that. This was a very long plan, very mapped out in plain sight. That's like, this is how we're going to get the people. This is how we're going to watch their behaviors. This is how we're going to mind map them and eventually control them. It's really, really dark.
Yeah. It's I promised, and one of my friends here who helps out with the show, he sent me a message this morning saying like, "Hey, you've been doing a lot of really depressy spaghetti episodes lately. Like, what happened when you guys just talk about movies? Let's get some artists on. Let's get some." And I said, "Hey, I'm sorry, you're right. Things have been pretty dark lately. I'll try and work on this." And here we are. And I think it's
par for the
important,
course,
so
though.
he can deal with it for another week. Yeah.
I think that that's fair, but I also think nothing against whoever said that, but I think let's just avoid and stay in happy land is kind of how we got here. And there's nothing wrong with distraction. Yeah. There's nothing wrong with focusing on the good and being positive and, great movies. I'm a big film fan, but
yeah,
I also think people not getting into the meat of what is going on is sort of the genesis of how and why we are here as a society,
Yeah. I think so too. It's, the Brave New World meets 1984.
100%.
Sort of, like bread and circuses, for lack of a better term.
Yep, 100%. And listen, and there's ways to bring levity to that. And I do my best to bring levity to that because I don't think everything has to be doom and gloom. I don't think it should be doom and gloom. I think there's a lot people should acknowledge. Mine is more, my purpose, I think, with this is more to enlighten people that they've been played, because I don't like that. I don't like to see people played in any capacity. And I know from being kind of like behind the curtain with a lot of this, people have been played for a long time. And then you're watching AI unfold and go, oh, like this charade is going on, obliterating truth as we know it. And people are waking up. I mean, that's just reality. People are waking up. This is no longer a thing where it's just a, minority of people kind of yelling they hate AI. This is the people are not for it. So power to the people, man.
I would get rid of all of it at this point. Like,
100%.
Yeah. Like, I don't think that the problems that we're getting, like on paper, and everything is fallible. On paper, it could be used as a force for good if the world wasn't run by psychotic, pedophile billionaires that would gladly throw us all into a furnace. But that's who runs the world. Like there's no,
But that's also who planned AI. So that's where it becomes difficult, right? Because while I understand AI pretty deeply, and I know like the founding fathers of neural networks, and I understand how long this was, thought about since Alan Turing and Marvin Minsky. I know all of them. I have done my research over 4 years. But them getting in bed with Epstein by the 90s and bringing him into MIT labs and Harvard labs and having symposiums on his island, this is 24 years of those sick billionaires planning this for what it is now, right? And where it gets really wonky to me, this is just me, most people can see what I saw at first layer. And first layer was, well, wait a minute, we were told we were in a huge climate crisis. And we had, my big thing was, I don't know what it's like on the West Coast anymore. I did live there a long time, but on the East Coast,
Yeah.
you weren't even allowed to get a bag in a store anymore. You had to bring your own bags for years. And because
it's still like that in Washington.
okay, so it was like so damning to have a plastic bag or a plastic straw. And then suddenly data centers come out and you go, well, wait a minute. And again, I told you I worked for Amazon Corporate. I was at a concert at work with Bezos and Eddie Vedder for Climate Change Arena, where they were like, we have to do something that, it's the same speech since Al Gore, where it's like, the climate problem is now. And then they come out with these data centers. Everyone starts scratching their head and going, hold on, back up. I feel gaslit. What's going on? And that was layer one for me, that I peeled back and went, hang on a second. This is not something y'all just figured out would be toxic to the planet. This is something y'all knew 20 years ago, 25 years ago would be toxic to the planet. About the same time you were telling us we were in this, really big threatening situation and to not have a straw. And once you look at every piece like that and you kind of start reverse engineering every piece like that, you start to say, well, then was the curing of the cancer and the adding the years to my dog's life and all the good we could be doing and should be doing, was that all gaslighting too? Because I'm not seeing a whole lot of the good happening. What I'm seeing is a lot of the nefarious and the surveillance and the really planned for by design dark side.
Yeah.
Oh, and the job loss. Let's not forget.
Yeah, which there's a ton of it. That's kind of what's wild to me. I don't know if there's a huge correlation or not, but you're seeing the heat maps of the huge heat waves and displacements and droughts and where they line up with data center construction. And now they're doing that one in Utah. It's 40,000 square acres, I want to say. Run by Kevin O'Leary, which, Canada didn't like him, so he came here. God, I hate that guy. I hate that guy so fucking much.
He's not well liked.
No. And, it doesn't really mean a lot when Canadians say they don't like someone. They don't like anyone. But, God, I really, really hate Kevin O'Leary. I guess, I was Canadian. Maybe it is built into my blood somewhere.
There you go.
But
I had a lot of people reach out to me on that project before it happened to try and help them with their meetings and write their collateral, because they were able to kind of come back with some appeals and they needed bullet points for their printed collateral. And I helped them with that. So I'm very familiar with the project.
That's good of
you. I'm not familiar with the state or the area at all.
I live fairly close to there, and I spend a non-zero amount of time in Utah. I very much do not like Senator Mike Lee, I want to say his name is, the fellow that's in charge of it. And keep in mind, you do have a lot more knowledge of the intricacies of how they work. But my introduction to him, and the first time I ever gave him any bandwidth in my brain, was during the Big Beautiful Bill. He put forward a proposal to sell, I think, millions of acres of public land. And now that this whole data center thing is happening, it's like, oh, that's what you were trying to do.
Yeah.
That's the buyer that was lined up this whole time. Yeah.
Right. That perfect segue. That is exactly what I mean now. You see the reverse engineering everywhere. Yeah. It's not just data centers. It's not just climate change. It's not just, this global unemployment. And what I think what gets probably more annoying to me is we sort of keep acting surprised by it. Like, oh, Google's in bed with the Pentagon. Google's going to surveil us. And then you see blatant emails from 2013. And I have put this on my channel many times. There is a blatant email in 2013. It is to Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Elon Musk, Jeffrey Epstein, Lori Park, who was the original engineer at Google, basically saying, with all the data mining we're doing with Google and the NSA, and since we plan Silicon Valley to just be a surveillance hub, let's just keep on going and surveil more people because, and he uses Larry Ellison's exact statement in this email. I'll tell you who the sender is because it's even worse, but says, in order to catch bad actors can't know we're watching them. So we're basically just going to have to spy on everyone, because people will be, on their best behavior if they know they're being watched. They won't be on their best behavior if they don't know they're being watched. So let's just spy on everyone and use Google as this vehicle. This is a 2013 email. So that's just
that
to show
horrific.
It's horrific. That email made me drop my computer and go, holy shit. Now, there's a couple people on that email. I'm not going to drop their names because they're probably somewhat innocent in this. I don't know. I don't know who is or isn't anymore. But a couple people on the email that make you question, this can't be real, because they're like singers. They're not, or authors. They're not really like tied into tech. But no, the guy, the sender, is on the books a lit agent. That lit agent was running what they called like the billionaire magazine of the world, that was for like the smartest people on earth. And he had a club, and it was basically called the Edge Foundation, an Edge magazine. He ran this to have billionaire dinners. They raised maybe close to probably $1 million. 800,000 of it was from Epstein. They had these billionaire dinners that Bezos was at, Musk was at, all the key players of now. It was this very haughty-taughty tech meets science club, and there was press on it. There was press on it in 2019. Freaking BuzzFeed, of all things, covered it. I mean, they were not talking about this. The thing is, because it was 2019, when Epstein, quote unquote, killed himself, there was so much press.
Has it been 7 years?
It's been 7 years. So don't forget, Epstein killed himself the same year COVID broke.
Also, he totally killed himself. He's definitely not alive in Israel or something.
He's definitely not alive. So there's so much press that you can find. This is where it gets really interesting. That year, saying, wow, he had a lot of weird relationships with tech people. He was super invested in science. He put millions and billions of dollars into science labs, science things, eugenics businesses, blah, 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 blah. Not one person realized, because ChatGPT didn't launch until 2022, that all of that was for AI. They just kept talking about his tech and science relationships over and over and over again. But what boggles my mind is nobody is now coming back to 360 the puzzle pieces and go, wait a minute, hold on. The man left money in his will, quote unquote, to a US-based AI business. He was caught. The FBI tip line that caught him and sent him to prison was at an AI conference that OpenAI was at. Where's the press on that? Because I never saw any.
Yeah. I mean, like, it is in the vested interest. AI is now the biggest, I want to say, for lack of a better word, economy in the United States, like the driver of the economy. It's kind of holding the whole situation up.
Besides it making no money, right? But
besides it running in the literal negative. What's a bubble? Yeah. I want to hope. I hope it's a bubble.
100% is. And
and I'm old enough, and I imagine we're both old enough to remember 2008 and how bad it got then. I'll still take that shit, when the bubble bursts, and I hope it bursts sooner than later, than any remote future that any of these tech billionaires talk about. I follow this page.
1000%.
Yeah. I can't remember his name, but if you Google this phrase, I'm sure it'll come up. It's every day he posts, and I've brought this up in the show before, an insane thing an AI executive says.
Yeah, it's Brian.
Yeah, I love that dude.
I'm friends with Brian. We've had meetings. Yeah, we've had meetings. We have talked about collaborations and how to forge forward with resources for people. Yeah, he's a really stand-up guy.
I love that dude. I've been considering asking him to come on too.
You should. He's very cool. We've taken some FaceTime calls and just discussed how to further develop resources to fight the good fight. But that's Brian. He's a super, super chill, nice guy. Really heart in the right place. So
I agree. And also the things that he's posting of, straight from the horse's mouth, regardless.
Yeah,
are
and
horrific.
it's bananas. And I say it on
Yeah.
almost all of. If you look at all of his posts, every single one, I'm like, more batshit bananas. Like, what?
Yeah.
One of the things that's so crazy with AI in general, and I think most of the things in tech in general, and then most of the things in the files in general, is the things get so bananas, and I think that's purposeful. But again, my expertise is in messaging, so I do understand how to do this, how to engineer this properly so that you can manipulate when people try to regurgitate what you've said, they sound insane. When people
Yeah.
like Brian or myself are starting to talk about these bananas people, the Sam Altmans of the world, or the things that they've said, the transhumanism and the AI churches and, Peter Thiel and XYZ, we sound like conspiracy theorists. All we're
Yeah.
doing is taking it word for word from the horse's mouth.
Yeah. I
It's
was going to say, like, I worry sometimes that I sound like an insane person. We've talked about crazy things on this podcast before. We've talked about fucking giants and wendigos and, all sorts of stuff, but, everything's with a grain of salt.
sure.
We always, we're half entertainment, half information. This is all information.
Yeah,
This is all like, you
I
can get
know.
this right from the horse's mouth.
Right from the
Um,
horse's mouth. But the things, so here's another layer to throw in there, and not that you asked for it, but I am going to give it.
no, please.
When
I prefer that.
when you study and it's why I want so many people to go backwards, because I've said it in my videos before. When you're so focused on the now and the people of the now and what they're doing right now, it's very confusing. When you look at the then and the why and the genesis and the planning, it starts to make a lot more, sort of make more sense. But you see that they were, I want to say grifted. In my opinion, it's grifted, but in reality, you've got billionaires that are already very out of touch with reality and with what normal people go through and live through, et cetera, right? You have a bunch of
Yeah.
quantum physicists and scientists who created AI. They sold these billionaires on a ton of different possibilities with artificial intelligence, some of them being immortality, genetically modifying things, sort of creating your own sort of world and community. And, like I said, eugenics, which a lot of them were obsessed with, transhumanism, having machine parts and all these things that were literally just a thing of sci-fi. This is
Yeah.
1950s, 1960s. I was a sci-fi writer my whole life, so I know sci-fi books very, very well. This is 1950s, 1960s sci-fi books that these scientists were able to tell these billionaires who, again, have all the money in the world, I'm able to give you this better picture, this possible eternity, possible way to have, machine parts, upload your consciousness to a machine, which Epstein and Altman were both obsessed with. Altman's on a waiting list for the procedure. It's a 100% fatal procedure. You have to be euthanized to do it.
Holy shit. I
Yeah, and
remember reading about that the other day.
he got on that list in 2018 before any of this was even mainstream. Epstein was also obsessed with uploading your consciousness to the machine. So, you've got people that really are so wealthy. And if you just think about that for a second, where you're not struggling with the common problem, you're not like, how am I going to fill my tank with gas? How am I going to go food shopping? Whatever. Your brain is just, how am I going to live forever? Like, I'm in this elite club of people that can change the world. If you look at all Peter Thiel's dialogue emails, dialogue participants, and those classes or whatever they did in those workshops, that's what they believed they were doing. They were so elite and wonderful just because they were rich that they were going to change the world. And these scientists, I'm sorry, but didn't help. And by the way, all these scientists were looked into after Epstein was arrested. And all of them basically, whether to clear their conscience or name or not, said, oh, we just used him for his money, which I'm sorry, I find that worse. But, and which isn't true either, because they were getting like mathematical computations from him. It gets very, very deep. But they basically came in and said, well, we can answer these things for you. We can make all your dreams come true, and these insane sci-fi things possible. And these billionaires were like, okay, where do I sign up? And
Man.
now you
Yeah.
see it coming to fruition. Now and most of those scientists are dead, by the way, but like not all of them,
Yeah,
but majority of them.
we'll get into that in a little bit. The scientist murders that have been happening, but
Oh no, that's not even those scientists. I mean neural network founders, like the Marvin Minskys of the world. They passed away years ago. Not the newly dead scientists, the
yes.
organically dead scientists. The ones that died of old age is
Yeah.
what
Okay.
I'm talking about, right?
That makes a little more sense. Yes.
Yeah, they sold these guys on all the stuff that now it comes to light, and these are the things that they're talking about, and they're coming out. Hey, we can have transhuman parts, and the human race doesn't have to endure because it'll be part machine. And everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about, dude? Like, because they've been hearing this for 2 decades, just thinking this is the way the evolutionary part of 2030 on goes. And this is all new to us. Hey, we thought we were kind of trying to trek back to the 90s, man. Like, we were looking for Blockbuster and a time machine with your technology, and you gave us the Terminator. No, thank you.
Yeah, it's gosh, I have so much on my mind. I'm kind of like tripping over 8 different trains of thought right now.
I'm sorry.
Sorry, I'm like an entire pot of coffee deep. No, don't apologize, please. This is like a teacher trying to explain like math to someone like a monkey, like a Neanderthal at this point. Like I'm familiar with, because I remember, and I'm going to out myself a little, and you may judge me a little. This show's been going on for a little while. Like we started in like 2019, 2020, 2021. Like, gosh, my ability to think of time and timelines is just gone. And initially,
same.
when AI was starting to come out, it was so janky, and we didn't know any of this stuff. That we were, and I'm a contract artist. Like that's my job. That's my full time. That's what I do for a living is like merchandising and all of that.
Cool.
And I'd see shitty AI happening, and me not being able to think ahead. I'm like, oh, this is really fucking funny, actually. Like this is tech that's not going to get any better. This is definitely not going to.
What I think a lot of people thought at the time. I think that was the common. Will Smith has 6 fingers. This is ha 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 funny,
and he's trying to eat
it'll
spaghetti.
Fizzle out. Right.
Yeah. And we talked about it, and the kind of take that we had at the time, I think, that we put out on the show was, this is emergent technology. We don't know a lot about it, but it has the potential to do good, and it has the potential to do bad. But in the meantime, it's really funny. Let's make it do some stupid shit. And here we are, where it's actively being used for mass surveillance. It is, the plan, and I believe you very, very much. I believe everything that you're saying about it being planned for a long time, because you have receipts. I have seen the receipts.
I have a whole library, 233 links. I went through over 1,000 emails to make that library. So
you have it organized really well, and I'm like, oh my god, this was happening the entire time, and I feel so fucking bad platforming it or giving it my time of day.
No,
I even fucked around with AI art a little bit, like
no. Don't feel bad, because listen.
Well, it's to my listeners too, and my friends, and like myself.
I think it's more important that you. To me personally, I think it's more important that you had a very authentic reaction, like probably a fair majority of the world had, and are now able to sort of walk it back and see the realities of what's going on. Then, you didn't have that authentic reaction, because that is what most people experience. Now, listen, that wasn't my experience. And the only reason my experience initially was so different was because it came for writers first. So immediately I was able to be like, wait a minute, like what's going on? Why are 20,000 writers out of work? I don't trust this. I don't like this, and my whole life's mission has been to advocate for people. If you look into my background, I've had a ton of nonprofits and done all these crazy things, but I got into that real quick on LinkedIn. And I was fighting with tech bros. Man, every day that were like, it's a tool, adapt or die. And I was like, yeah, I don't think so. Because I'm watching.
Oh, I still see that, and I hate that shit.
Well, I'll tell you what, though. I mean, you might still
Yeah.
see it, but majority, if
Less
not,
so these days. It's yeah,
if not all of them, have come back
yeah,
in the past 6 months to personally write to me, and I have those receipts too, apologize or say, your position on this since 2022 was 100% correct. It was for
yeah,
surveillance. I take back everything I said. You were early, and that's a lonely place to be. I have all these emails. And
yeah,
it is vindicating to be like, oh, okay, so thank you. Now, do I think that's because majority of tech started losing their jobs and realizing it wasn't just a tool, it was, you're going to train the tool to take over your job now? And that's
yeah.
majority of what it is throughout corporate. You are training these tools and we have been since, I don't know if you've seen this on my stuff, but since Pokemon Go or reCAPTCHA, they found
Oh
out
my god.
both of those
Oh,
things.
oh, can we talk about that for a second?
Yes.
Oh gosh, I hate to say it, and whatever, I'm going to out myself a little bit. When Pokemon Go came out, I played the
No.
hell out of that shit because it like I don't know. I'm old
I
enough. Like I
played
grew up with the
Pokemon
original.
Go too. I was
Yeah,
guilty of it myself in the beginning.
yeah, because to me too, it was like okay, cool. Like we're going to go walk 10 miles today, and you're going to get a dopamine hit for each block that you make,
Sure.
and now it's like no, they're gathering so much data. But
It's
how much
wild
was the
when
deal?
you look back, it all seems so obvious. Like when
Yeah,
you look back, you're like, they were asking us to walk around like asinine idiots, just
yeah,
directing something that we didn't know, and we're building these maps, right? And I'm seeing
yeah.
sort of Duolingo. I just saw a whole case study on Duolingo, sort of doing that same dopamine chase,
Really?
and this, I don't know, I can't say for certain whether that's being used nefariously, but they're using this whole sort of dopamine model and mind mapping model versus just here is a free education and learn a language, right? And I think
Yeah,
I have a theory, just being in the business as long as I was, over 2 freaking decades. My theory is when anything just is rampant like that, right? Like right now it's Monopoly Go. And listen, I'm not throwing them under the bus because I don't know anything about them. What I know is they were dead for years. Suddenly it is every ad I'm being served. I got an email yesterday that I could get 16 cents off every gallon of gas just to sign up for Monopoly Go. When I see those
oh
things,
gosh,
yeah,
yeah,
free stuff just to sign up. When they're giving you free, when they're giving you gas, when they're do not put your
no,
data.
you're the product.
Do not join it. Like, and it seems really, really obvious in retrospect, but at the time, what did we know? I mean, shit, Facebook is the same way. Like, we just thought we were going to be hanging with our friends, finding old colleagues, finding old high school and college buddies or whatever. And you find out all of Facebook was a lie too. And it's like, man, like, they tapped into algorithms, they tapped into a way to study your behavior. Then they were able to modify your behavior. A For You page and all these things to serve you more and more and more of that just serves your reality more and more while serving somebody on the other side their reality. So the two of you just argue, because I'm seeing all anti AI. Other people are seeing
Yeah,
all pro AI. It's the
yeah,
same thing they did with COVID. Like literally it's happening all over again.
yeah. You keep people in their echo chambers. I am, kind of
100%.
grateful to see. And again, I acknowledge too, I might be in my echo chamber, but in various
That's
everything
okay.
except Facebook. Facebook fucking loves AI. I don't know why. I think like AI
Oh.
hit the older generation like an 18-wheeler. Like it
There's
is doing
I see them
irreversible
turning.
psychic damage.
I see
Yes,
them
thank God.
turning a lot, actually. I see them turning a lot, but keep in mind, Zuckerberg is one of the most invested people since the beginning. He's got
Yeah.
199 mentions in the files. He's got emails on how to run his program. There's suspicion around that being a DARPA created program since day one, because DARPA shut down their data program in 2004, the day Facebook started. I won't confirm or deny that because I don't work for them. But, when I've seen what I've seen in those receipts, I go, man, like, we thought you were making us social. And by now, it's really obvious you weren't, right? Because what seems to be the biggest thing that you are working against is people banding together. You don't want people banding together. You don't want the people coming together and you wanted people divided.
My mind jumps to another conspiracy that was, when I say conspiracy, I mean just like the fucking truth. This thing actually happened.
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, the assassination of Malcolm X. And like they didn't assassinate him necessarily because he was, a leader in the civil rights movement that, advocated for violence to change policy, in protection of civil rights or whatever. I don't know a lot about Malcolm X, but the declassified documents we're talking about specifically where it raised hackles within, like, hey, we have to fucking kill this dude by the United States government, was when he reached out to poor white people.
Yeah,
like poor
that makes
white
sense.
Working.
Yeah, because you're no longer divided. They don't want that. Period.
Yeah, it's been the game plan as long as we've been alive, and far longer than that.
Way before, yeah. You look at the last 100 years. I think we all know largely who was responsible, but you look at the last 100 years of intelligence. The things that have gone on, and you go, what's crazy is people call it conspiracy. The declassified docs where all this stuff literally lives in plain sight. And that's how brazen they can be. They can be like, we'll put all these insane things in plain sight, like MK Ultra, et cetera, and Project Paperclip, like Project Mockingbird. Yeah, all these things. And people are just going to not believe it anyway because it's so bananas. And that really is a mind manipulation tactic that they got great at. And that's the reality, right? And I have such a thing to my core against people being manipulated. And especially when it comes through messaging, it's something I can kind of sniff out right away because it's the business I was in. Yeah. And what is always attacked in that place is truth. And I think that's what all of this comes down to for me, is like, they were able to make people argue truth, right? Because you could say your truth on any type of online platform. Someone's just gonna be like, fuck you, that didn't happen. You're like, oh, but it did. And until you provide receipts, right, somebody can just, and then they'll argue anyway. Everybody became trolls. Plus then you add bots and you add all this other fuel to the fire, which I believe they wanted. They wanted all of this divisiveness, right? But when AI comes into this equation and you realize there will never be truth again in our lives or any subsequent lives, there will never be truth again because receipts don't matter anymore. What do they matter? You can doctor anything. You can AI photos, videos, full videos, and someone's like, and even if somebody's going to go back and be like, oh, I don't know, I proved that it was AI or I proved that it wasn't, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. You've planted seeds of doubt where every person has to look at anything now and the first words out of their mouth are, I don't know if this is true. Yeah. That's psychological warfare on the people.
It is.
100%.
And it scares the shit out of me, genuinely.
Yeah.
Like I've had conversations with people who, for example, about the flock camera thing. I'm like, all right, well, here's like 8 different things that the people who are responsible for this are saying it's capable of. And they will respond to me after, seeing receipts and everything else going like, no, it's just a license plate reader. Like, why are you so scared? Do you not want to find trafficked children? And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I thought you just said it was a license plate reader that wasn't capable of any of that. They're like, oh, well, you hate children. You love pedophiles.
Yep.
Holy shit. It's
yeah.
But,
it's incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, it's addicting to be angry. Yeah.
If you don't want to be surveilled, in every...
Don't do anything wrong.
In every light, in every they have mics now. They have,
Yeah.
cameras in your car that are front facing, all these things. It's
Gosh.
like, well, then what are you trying to hide? Like, just be an upstanding citizen. It's like, no, no, no.
Yeah.
I don't think you get it. Like, when you have this is, again, this is a sci-fi book. When you have
Yeah.
zero privacy to be in your own car,
Yeah.
that's a problem. Like, I'm sorry, but I don't want to be watched on what I'm doing in my car. And it doesn't have to be a crime, right? And
Yeah.
not necessarily like drunk driving, but at the end of the day, like, I might act like an idiot in my car. I might change my shirt in my car. I might
Yeah.
sing like an asshole in my car. Whatever it is, that should
Yeah.
not be watched by anybody.
Yeah. It's insane. Not even to mention, like, on the one end, it's driving the price of cars up to the point where the average person can't afford them. I mean, take a look at Europe for a example of that, where to buy an entry level, Ford Focus or something is double the price that the same car would be here. I do
Really?
think it's a concerted effort to, one, push people away. Yeah, my friend who's also hosting the show every once in a while here, he does very well for himself. He's one of the, and I come from Canada too. It was very, very expensive to get a vehicle there and drive
Really?
it. And this is something that is way worse in Europe. Yeah, I was, keep in mind I was from a city, but I was probably one of the only people in my friend group that actually lived in the city that could afford and own a vehicle.
Shut
I,
up.
I
That's
do
crazy.
I do think that there is a war against ownership of a vehicle and various other things where people can self govern. But we're not going to get into like 15-minute cities and all of that
That's
right now. It's
very
not the
interesting. Oh,
yeah,
I
but
know. I know a
I
lot
think
about
yeah
15-minute cities. Don't worry about it. The
yeah
car part is actually new to me. I didn't know that, but that makes a lot of sense. Other than they're making these front-facing cameras, I think next year
yeah
on, right? What I
yes
heard, 2027 on. So it's like
yeah, and the kill switches.
they found a way to govern you anyway. They were like, no, wait, hold
Yeah,
on, we lost control of that one, you know,
yeah,
4 mile, 10-minute stretch that they drove. Let's govern that too.
yeah. I genuinely think, and I hope that someone, there's tens of thousands of you that listen to this fucking show. If one or two of you wants to open a business that may or may not be successful, I think in the future debugging vehicles will be very lucrative
But
because of
see,
it.
okay, can I just
Yeah,
say something to that? This
please,
is what
please.
this is what annoys me. Right. So
Yeah,
sorry, tangential, but not. I feel
yeah,
like this is the other part of all of technology that I hate is they solve problems that didn't exist and then they
yes,
capitalize on it by selling you ways to reverse the problems that they caused, right? Which is like
yes.
create the problem, sell the solution. But I've seen
Yeah, we need to
programs
get rid
that
of the
like,
problem to begin with.
yeah, like I've seen programs that now will take the AI out of things. It's like, dude, I didn't want it there in the first place. Like, I don't want to
Yeah,
buy something to now remove the thing that I never gave consent to have.
yeah. I'm moving away from Adobe products entirely now because of
Good.
the generative AI that they use. What's the other one that everyone keeps on recommending? I can't remember. I can't remember. I'll add it to the show notes if I
I'm
do.
literally going so off grid. I'm trying to get rid of tech altogether. That's my plan. So don't
Yeah,
even ask me programs because I'm on the trajectory to become Amish and just leave it all behind. I can't deal with tech anymore. I find it all very annoying. Even pre AI, I'm not going to lie to you. Even pre AI, I was not like the biggest fan of tech because I just find it annoying. I find it annoying to have to
yeah,
put in a password and then scan a QR code and then come over here and then go to an authenticator and then like it's all
yeah,
just jump the shark for me, right? Like,
yeah.
what are we doing? Why do I need? I went to sorry ADHD moment,
No,
but I went to
no,
a
please, please.
I went to a cabin in like Pigeon Forge sort of area. I don't
Yeah,
know if you know where Dolly Parton's from, but I'm not that far from there, sort of near Knoxville, Tennessee. And I went to it. I rented a log cabin because I was so tired of technology. And I got
oh, I
there,
love
and you
that.
had no, it was awesome. But I got there, and you had to scan a QR code and just to get in the door. It was a Wi-Fi door to get
Are you
into a
serious?
law. I swear to God. And I was like, wait a minute. This is
I
everything I tried to avoid.
I hate that.
I hated
Oh
that.
gosh, I
It,
After this show's over, I want to keep talking. I have a lot of thoughts about like the homesteading Luddite, get away from everything, and I
yes.
say Luddite in like the not the derogatory way. Like this is what I want.
No, it's like the
Um,
hero. This should be heroed at this point.
yeah, there's like little Mennonite communities that live around me. I did kind of the same thing, and I moved away from like the city to rural
Yeah.
Idaho, and I fucking love it. I am so happy here. Like I
Good
cannot
for
even
you, man.
thank you. But like I have a lot of thoughts. There was just this big convention for homesteaders in Coeur d'Alene, which is kind of like a large town north of me, and I
I
just
do
picked up a
think
lot
it's
of stuff from there.
happening.
Yeah,
I think it's happening a lot more than people realize. Like, so my parents actually live in Amish country in Pennsylvania. I am not
yeah,
Amish. They are not Amish. It's just where my mom wanted to retire and have
yeah,
a simple like farm life, right?
yeah,
And she's always told me like they don't have internet. They're so happy. It's so common. I was always like, you're nuts. Go do that, because I was younger and I thought it was
yeah.
so cool to have all this technology. And then now, of course, everyone's looking at their life being like, oh, well, you had it right. We had it wrong.
Yeah,
But I,
and they're really happy people.
they're really happy people. But if you look at, and I think this is what, again, like the crux of, aside from the truth part, because the truth part is always going to bother me as a journalist, that's always going to bother me. But
Yeah,
from the simplicity part, if you look at what we rallied for, you saw so many people in the past, I'm going to say 10 years, five, we'll go 5 to 10.
yeah,
In the past 5 to 10 years, you've seen so many people talking about, I miss the 90s, I miss the early 2000s, and feeling this
yeah,
deep nostalgia from before we had all this tech. And my big stronghold on this whole thing is if they gave a shit about the people, which clearly we know they don't, if they gave a shit about the people, that's what would be sort of happening. Like a little bit of a pause moment, a little bit of a, okay, like maybe we went too far. We took their Pizza Huts and their McDonald's and their Blockbusters and we made it all sterile. And we just pushed so far with all of this technology since the smartphone and social media and all these things. Let's hold for a second because everyone's miserable. No. They went faster. They went harder. They went more towards the Jetsons' future instead of the Flintstone past. And I have a problem with that because you knew that's not what the people wanted. No one asked for this. No one. But
yeah,
you thought it would make you money to speed us up into a future we didn't want. You know?
yeah.
I don't love
That's kind of
that.
what gets me. The people who are for it as much are the worst people. Like absolutely, this is a situation where it's like part of what helped solidify my very like anti AI, anti tech, whatever stance was the people who argue for it the most and the people who are putting the effort into it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen the movie Eddington?
I have
Directed by
not.
Ari Aster. It came out like
No.
late COVID or early post COVID. I really recommend it. It's just I feel like in the future, and it's put out by A24,
Uh,
who unfortunately now they're
yep.
getting into bed with
I'm
AI.
aware.
But
Sure are.
yep, yeah, I'm going to support Neon and IWC Midnight a little more after that. But
Yeah, I left my
but
A24 membership as well. But go ahead.
yeah, no, me too. But directed by Ari Aster, the guy who did Hereditary, and it's kind of like a black political sort of comedy about a really small town in New Mexico building a data center and like the
Oh
controversy
boy.
around it. Yeah.
Jeez.
And I won't spoil too much, but people kind of come together against the data center and the people who run it get very, very dirty. And
Oh,
it's just kind of a,
so it's
yeah,
nonfiction. Yeah, cool.
yeah, pretty
Got it.
much. Like I feel like we're going to be looking back on that movie, and I feel like when that movie came out, I didn't appreciate it as much as I do now. Um, but looking
Yeah.
back, I'm just like, oh, this is just America. Like this is so much of
That's how I
America,
feel
and
about the
it
Truman
like
Show.
yeah, no, actually, it just like encapsulates this idea, um, and yeah, I really recommend it. It stars Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, fantastic. Love him.
Yeah, but
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Going back to your point on the people that that love it, which I'm going to be honest with you, I don't see that many people that love it anymore. And I'm grateful for
Neither
that,
do
but
I.
that might
Yeah.
be my algorithm as well. But,
Yeah.
um, if you do watch my content, there's a personal connection that I had as well to knowing the founders of PayPal 20 years ago, which I won't get too deep into here. But, finding so many things tracked back to them and having known them personally,
Yeah.
I think that's another piece that's really easy for me to go, nope, this is evil. Like it was just that simple to once I saw like how invested they were from the gate, and obviously Palantir and Musk and Sachs and Thiel. You see all those people. I've met all those people. I have a history there that was very easy for me to go, if they're supporting this and they're behind this, I'm out. Not
Yeah.
to get all Shark Tank on you, but I'm out.
Yeah, but
Right?
it's true. If the worst person advocates for something that
100%.
no one else wants, that their motivations probably aren't pure.
100%. It is really that easy. And I'm grateful that the world woke up to, I mean, there's still a lot of people obviously cheering for Elon. I don't think they're cheering for the rest of them, but, and that's fine. Whatever. You want to like Elon, you want to love SpaceX, do your thing. I don't really care. I'm not going to fight with anybody about it, but I think people have woken up to some of the other PayPal mafia. And I think, to your point, just anybody that is still at this point, 2026, if you were advocating for it 2022, 3, 4, fine. But 2026, knowing what you know, seeing what you've seen, knowing planet damage, knowing data center drama, knowing all this stuff, you are still dying on that hill. Nah. Yeah. Like that is enough for me to walk away from you personally, from you,
I agree. And not to hyper focus on like the artist thing, but also finding out how those models work, how they train their data sets.
Sure.
And finding out that my art actually trained AI as just an experiment, like just out of curiosity. I put into ChatGPT, I think like a year or two ago, like, hey, make a piece of art in like my style from Instagram. And they did it. And like quite well. It was like 80% there. It's still at AI tells.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you steal things. You can do it quite well. When it's like, piracy. Remember when piracy mattered?
Yep. Gosh. It's
we've come a long way.
It did not feel good.
When everyone
now the corporations
out.
Just do.
Yeah, remember when everyone freaked out? It's okay, I got two of them. Freaked out at LimeWire and all these things, and my god, and piracy and blah blah
Napster.
Blah. Now they're
old enough to remember Napster.
Same, and I was working in the music business when Napster came out. That wasn't fun. And
oh man,
now they're like, hey, we love piracy. Piracy's the way to go. And you're like, wait, what? What on earth has even happened? And that, my friend, is a 2-decade gaslight that I just don't love it. I've gotten an email almost every day since I left corporate, which is now about 3 months, and since I started my business, which I will plug at some point in this podcast. But ever since I started that, I have gotten an email almost every day to come on board as a writer. And then you look into it, and it's just, we just want you to train AI models on how to creatively write. And I'm like, fuck you. Like, you can't be serious even emailing me to do this, right? I've asked ChatGPT if it's used my writing, my name. I've asked, and it said yes. And you're like, cool. That's cool. You're using that, and I'm not working? Got it. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. Yeah, I forget what it's doing to music. I mean, come on. It's crazy. Yeah.
Oh gosh, it's awful. And
awful.
I know people too who are concept artists, animators, all of that, and there's so much job uncertainty. I will say very specifically for and again, I would give every upside away just for AI to disappear tomorrow.
Same.
it has been really good for my job specifically. And
Okay.
I think, and I like it for two reasons, which is one, and I told you already, like I'm a contract artist. Like I do merchandising art. I do like sticker designs, shirts, box
Okay. Yeah.
art,
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think the reason for a lot of my success lately, and like I just did like a couple of my best months on record, has been the pushback against AI, and
Oh,
because
well,
people are
yeah.
getting called out for it, and people are getting called out for it, and then they're going like, oh shit, like who is a physical artist that we can hire? And it's coming to me because I've been pretty vocally against AI, but I also like exist within a niche community microcosm where like a very
Right.
specific person's going to hire me. But
Well,
kind of secondary to that, though, a lot of other people outside of my industry are losing their jobs and they're not getting replaced. And I
I think
feel awful
I,
for that. Yeah,
I have a lot to say about that. I think
of course.
it's complicated because, we just saw what happened with Ford. I'm sure you saw, but Ford had a major, major issue by hiring all or using all AI, deploying all AI, getting rid of their staff. They had a recall. I don't know how many
Oh
hundred
yeah, I just read
thousands
about
of
that.
vehicles. Right. And so now they've
Yeah.
hired back all human.
Yes.
Okay. I want to talk about that first.
Please,
Uh,
please, please.
that's wonderful. And I hope those people go back and ask for double their salary. And that is great. And I think it should happen. And I think the lesson should consistently be hire human. However, I'm the type of person that I will never return to my field. I am so
Yeah.
turned off by what I've witnessed. And the writing side is a bit different because what I saw go on for writers specifically, and again, I was not a newbie writer. I was, 2 decades in, a global director of copy. I've done some of the biggest commercials in the world. I have a pretty big portfolio, uh, you know, and
Yeah.
in a day, it was just like, yeah, ChatGPT can do this. And you're kind of going, no, it can't. Like, you can get words, sure, but you can't get creative concepts or ad concepts or all these things, or anything emotive, which there's a lot of
Yeah.
emotive obviously that goes into an ad concept, right? And I
Yeah.
mean, this is why you've seen Super Bowl commercials suck. This is why the ad, but the double down on it was kind of like, people don't read, so we don't really care, we'll just put out garbage. And this is why there's a lot of headlines with typos, and this is why people don't read post copy, so who gives a shit what we put out? And I think in my world for the past 4 years, it has just been a diminishing of value for these people that gave their, I've been a writer since I was 4 years old, right? Like, my whole life has been dedicated to writing. And
Yeah.
it was like, your entire life doesn't matter anymore. Everything you've done, I have a multitude of screenplays, books, all these things, doesn't matter. ChatGPT can do it. It could do it bad, but we don't give a shit because we just want to like churn and burn and get things out. And we don't care if it's bad because, hey, people don't read, which is like the shittiest thing to say to a writer, right? Like, hey, people don't read. So, okay, cool. My whole life depends on the fact that people read. Um,
Yeah.
but there's this like reticence now. And not every writer probably feels like this because they definitely are calling human writers back and being like, whoopsie, our ad performance is shit. The ROI wasn't good. Like, my bad. We were super greedy, but we learned our lesson. I personally am like, nah, no,
Yeah.
I won't write for you. I won't do it because you diminished my value as a human being. And this field became so small, right? We all just became so small overnight. It was like, your talent, your experience, quick money, easy scale.
Yeah.
Nah, I have a problem with that. I will forever have a problem with what I witnessed since 2022. And it's not just about me. I didn't lose my job to AI. I walked away because I
Yeah.
saw tons of writers losing their jobs to AI. And then eventually being out of work for 2 or 3 years, not being able to put food on the table, and some of them take their lives. And I'm like,
That's awful.
it was horrible.
Yeah.
And then you got
That
Elon like, we're going to give an allowance. Don't worry. We'll give you, we'll give you
yeah,
some
which is
money.
insane.
Yeah.
That's
And
an insane take.
you're like, Elon, people have been out of work. Some of these
Yeah.
fields have been out of work already for 4 years. What are you going to do? They're not even alive anymore. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
You're going to give people a back pay?
Yeah. Keep in mind when I said there, AI has been good for my job. That's not me saying that I'm happy about it. I would
Oh, I know.
rather.
No, I got what
Yeah.
you were saying.
Yeah,
100%.
it's worth saying for anyone else anyway who may be misinterpreting that. I
I'm
would live
glad
in a
it came
cardboard
back to
box.
you.
Yeah, I
I'm
would live
glad
in a
it came
cardboard
back
box
to
if all
you,
this
though.
shit disappeared tomorrow.
I think
But
I'm
yes, thank
happy
you.
when humans can karmically, reap some of the benefits of this nightmare.
Yeah,
That is great.
yeah, and I think a lot of the reason that I'm doing well isn't because of AI, it's because that the tides are turning and people are
Sure.
realizing that it's not working out for them. And it's kind of like Ford hiring everyone back.
Yeah.
It's people, they overstated the technology. They tried to replace everyone. They realized that this is not the wonder technology that, all the insane CEOs purported it to be. Instead, it's just, a shitty surveillance mechanism that also tells you what you want to know. Something interesting I saw recently is, and I don't know how true this is, but it's a little bit of hopium that AI,
Opium.
yeah, since it
I
trains
like
itself
that.
on just looking, yeah, I'm huffing hopium constantly, but God, I'm so hoping. But since AI is training itself constantly with sort of the aggregate data from the internet and all the art
Mhm.
that goes on Facebook and Instagram and so on, so because there's
Mhm.
so much AI art going onto it, significantly more and more AI art is going into its data sets. So it's learning off itself, and it's kind of becoming like a copy of a copy of a copy of a copy.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, have you seen the Backrooms?
No. Why have I
It's
heard
it,
about
it's a
that recently though?
it's a good movie. A24 as well. The
Okay.
director came out fairly early. He's a young guy. I think he's like 20. He directed the movie
Oh
when he was
wow.
20, but he came out quite against AI. And this is even before A24 did the AI deal. He was saying
Yeah.
that he would never use generative AI in anything.
Good.
Um, but the whole concept of the backrooms is like a little pocket dimension that kind of it recreates what it sees in the real world, but it can't quite do it right. And one
Yeah.
of the analogies is it's trying to explain a dog and get someone to draw a picture of a dog, but that person had never seen a dog before. Like
Yeah.
and that's kind of what AI is doing. And I hope it cannibalizes itself on its flawed data sets and it's
Well,
feeding itself worse and worse information. Yeah.
yeah, and you have artists that are purposely making shit art so that that's what's stolen, which I think is
Yeah.
beautiful.
And
I'd love to just put shit writing out in the world just to you know what I mean? Like, go ahead,
yeah.
take it, learn off this.
Yeah. Um, No, me too. And I saw that there's other ways that you can kind of poison, like you can inject things
Yeah,
into your art that the naked eye
yeah,
won't detect, but it will help poison any any AI that tries to learn off of it. I don't
yeah.
quite know how that works, but
Yeah,
it's
no,
something
that's
I've been considering doing.
fascinating. I love it.
Yeah,
And I think, that's one of the small ways we can fight back. I mean, we all know about the data mining now. We all know what they're doing. And it's like,
yeah,
what are the covert? We're smart, man. I always say this, they attacked artists first, which in my mind is the stupidest thing you could have done, right? You
yeah,
came for music, you came for writers, you came for artists, you came for
yeah,
the most creative people on earth that are going to find a way to get back
yeah,
at you, right? The most creative ways to get back at you. I don't know if
yeah,
you saw my remake of We Didn't Start the Fire. I rewrote the song. If you haven't, you should definitely give it a listen. It's pretty awesome. I'll send it to you.
yeah.
But
Please, please.
yeah, I rewrote all the lyrics to it to Every Bad Thing About AI, and
Yeah,
it's fun. But that's what we do. We have been adapting our whole lives to pivot and to be more creative and come out with things. And that's why when it was like adapt or die, it's like, okay, I will
Yeah.
adapt or die. I'm
Okay,
not
I'll
going to
adapt.
adapt.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm not going to adapt the lane you wanted me to be in, but I'm going to adapt.
Yeah.
And
All right, cool. I'm going to use my creative outlet to publish
exactly.
art on the internet about what sort of laser you can use to destroy a CMOS sensor and a flock camera.
There
Like,
you go.
yeah,
There you
cool.
go. You know,
Yeah, you've made enemies of. In my case, I'll freely admit to being a propagandist, but I'm not a propagandist for anything I don't truly believe in.
yeah,
And
same, same. But you've also, regardless of that, you've made enemies of the most creative people, and I think,
exactly,
and you attacked creativity at its core, right? You attacked things like music. I mean, you attack, and I do believe that's on purpose as well. Like you attack the most important things that human beings need. We need art. We need prose. We need music. We need poetry. We need, we need these things to survive in this world. And I genuinely believe that's why they came for it first.
yes, I think so too. But I think they fucked up. Like,
Oh, they totally
it's
fucked
sort of
up.
like yeah, a Streisand effect. It's you try and batten down something first, and or like you try and control a narrative early on. The more that you don't want certain things getting out there are going to get out
Sure.
there. Yeah.
Well, not only
Gosh.
that, y'all aren't
Yeah.
artists, right? So you attack
Yeah.
something you don't understand. You attack something you don't understand how to do,
Yeah.
and that you don't understand how it works, and we're going to school you. Like,
Yeah.
in that respect, like we may not win this fight. And I knew getting in this ring 4 years ago, like I said, this has been a long fight for me. And
Yeah.
I've been in it and I've been told off more times than I can count when people were not anti AI, believe me.
Yeah.
Uh, but at the end of the day, it's like I knew the whole time you don't know our business. You don't know well, you think it's this simple. You
Yeah.
just take a picture and that's it. And you take a headline and that's it. And you don't understand that this shit needs emotion. It
Yeah.
needs an emotive capability. It needs a sentient being. And listen, there's a
Yeah.
lot of humans walking around that I don't know if they're sentient anymore either. But like,
Well,
your machines
what was
aren't
that
going to get there.
statistic? It's like 50% of the population doesn't have an internal monologue of any kind.
I believe that.
Like it's a silly amount of people.
I
But
believe
yeah,
that. Well, they're fucking programmed,
yeah.
you know?
Well, it's there was a phrase that I've brought up on the show a couple of times, and you've definitely heard it before. But it's like, hey, I wanted AI to like do the busy work. Like I wanted it
Yeah,
to
the
do my
laundry.
laundry,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
and my dishes, so I
Yep.
had more time to create. I
Yep.
didn't want AI to take my ability to create, so I have to do dishes and laundry. Like,
Well, and they're
it,
still going to
yeah,
pitch you on that and be like, oh, but the agentic AI. And I don't know if you've watched my more recent stuff, which is a lot darker, but, I've got theories on the agentic AI too and what that's all really about. And I honestly do believe it's because they don't think we're going to be here and that they're
I,
using half of this agentic AI. They gave it purchasing power, they gave it retina scans and all these things in our
wait,
absence.
what is agentic? I actually don't know. Like,
Oh, you
I
want to
think I've
get to
seen
the
the name,
dark
but
side? I hope this is the
yes,
second portion where we get to
dude.
the dark side because this is dark shit, man. This has been out for a while, but this is definitely the dark side.
Okay, let me rephrase. I'm kind of offline in general.
Good. You should be.
Yeah.
You
Oh
should be.
gosh, no, it's the internet is just exhausting. It's
It
so
really
exhausting.
is. It's so
Yeah.
toxic.
Yeah.
Same. I've been off a lot, but I will give you the basics of this. I will give you
Please.
the manipulated version, and then I'll give you
Yes.
mine. So agentic AI basically acts as like almost a human assistant to do the things, right? And they pitch this into corporations where, like, for example, agentic AI can purchase for you. It can actually go on to your websites and take over control, which is also very weird to give that level of your online control to an AI chatbot. But basically, it acts like a human being that can go and do the things. It can do all of the things, purchase, essentially like settle your online errands or whatever it is that you have to get done. They're just basically acting as an assistant. And
Oh
it
gosh.
it has largely failed when it's been deployed. I want to say Walmart tried agentic AI and had to walk back the whole thing, but I could be wrong there, but I'm pretty sure that happened. But here's where it gets really dark. So agentic AI has purchasing power, and there are nut jobs out there, and I will say that very freely, that claim their agentic AI is their lover, and it goes on online sex
Oh
shops
yeah.
and buys sex toys and comes back
What the
and
fuck?
pleases them and all these crazy things. Okay, so that's one strain of wacky. But then
Yeah.
what's really scary, so they largely can buy data like on their own, or they can sort of, you've seen probably these like one-off stories where they've like made a gambling bet or like done these things where they've accessed crypto, which they also found crypto was largely tied to Epstein. But they've accessed, and by the way, we have the same crypto and AI czar in the White House, David Sachs. Anywho, they can use crypto to purchase, meaning clearly, like this chatbot entity does not have cash, does not have probably access to a credit card. So it's going to use this sort of, also nefarious tool of crypto and buy data. Well, what they also found in tandem to this is that there was a 3-year, you can look this up, this is very true. There was a 3-year project going on called the Orb, where it was scanning retinas. I am not like the most techie person to explain this, but there are videos out there that explain this where this Orb, and I believe Sam Altman was behind the project, or OpenAI was behind the project, would scan your retina, and they didn't really explain why. And then there was this sort of dormant tech portal turned on. It had been alive for 20 years, 15 years, whatever it was. They took it out of dormancy, and a bunch of tech companies were behind it, signed up for it, and it is to largely use these retina scans. Now, what fucks this whole thing up is it assigns basic, like, living, breathing, almost passport status to this agentic AI so that they can go deeper than purchasing power. They can do it all with autonomy. In other words, if I take your phone and I'm an AI chatbot, I don't need your facial recognition anymore because I have my own set of weird retina eyeballs that were scanned to do it with autonomy. Now, what that looks like to me, and this is getting a little conspiracy, but I don't really give a shit because it's scary. When I
Yeah,
read,
basically every conspiracy
oh,
has
I know.
just like happened. Yeah.
Not to mention conspiracy theory and theorists was a term coined by the CIA to throw people off and
Yeah.
discredit them because they were on the right track. That was all
That's
after.
literally been declassified. Like that. That's
Yeah,
just truth.
that was after the JFK files were declassified. They were like, oopsie, conspiracy theory was a term we coined. But regardless, the dark thing that I think, I do have a video out on this that has gone kind of viral. I've had 400,000 views on it in a very short time. But it is what I think, so I'm just being honest. A lot of these pitch decks for AI that came from these neural network founders, and this is across a multitude of countries. The pitch deck that I'm talking about went to Epstein to get his money. It was for Hong Kong. It was for him to launch in Hong Kong, which he did. He launched AI in Hong Kong. He launched AI in Singapore. He launched AI in a multitude of countries in 2014. Regardless, the pitch decks all say, like, this is for the good of all humanity. AI needs to happen between 2025 and 2030. Like, it's so weird, scary movie, the language in it, that when I started looking at agentic AI and I started looking at it having its own purchasing power and these machines being able to have retina scans, be able to purchase data with autonomy, to me, also, by the way, all these people moving into underground bunkers, to me,
Oh yeah.
this looks like a picture of they don't believe we are here anymore. And this is a way for the economy to keep going. Like, if we can give purchasing power to all this agentic AI, let them have free reign over the internet, they buy data, they use crypto, they have retina scans. These guys still thrive and make money from their underground bunkers if in some weird way our absence becomes a thing. And, this is a very boldly existential threat. So I do believe that all of this was to plan for our absence. 100%. I don't know what's taken us out. I have theories around it too that I'm not getting into on this, but
I'm curious, but
I'm not going to tell you.
Push it.
I'm not going to tell you on here, but you can check out my stuff.
I'll give you my take if you're interested. But
yeah, go ahead.
I don't necessarily, and obviously, again, I feel like I have a lot less information than you do, but just looking, okay. I always look at Commonwealth countries as sort of a litmus test for where, the royal they, I guess, want us to turn into.
Sure.
You kind of see it Britain will try something and the UK will
100%.
All of Europe will try something, and then it'll trickle down to Canada, and then it'll start to trickle down to some of the states, and then people will try and pass it as federal policy.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it'll pass, maybe it won't. But obviously AI is a little different. But
let's say the
surveillance state.
I don't think it is because, by the way, just to actually back you up on that, I watched everything happen in the UK first. All of my followers came from the UK first because they were petitioning all of this last year. They were opening their eyes to data centers and digital ID last year. So I actually think you're 100% spot on. Yeah.
And I think, what, to kind of go back to getting rid of us, so what is the point of ruling over a barren wasteland? There isn't a lot, but it does behoove, and you see this in the UK, you see this in a lot of places that have kind of turned into techno-authoritarian hellscapes. The creation of just a permanent subservient underclass.
But hold on, I agree with you, but I don't necessarily think they thought it would be a barren wasteland because all of their plans were to seed as many people. This is exactly what the Epstein files were about and what Zorro Ranch was about. Seed as many people, as much of the human race as possible, right? Same thing with Elon, same thing with everyone tied to this. And then you look at Dialogue, and everything Dialogue was about was matchmaking and what are our plans for World War III and how do we get together? I do believe they thought they would create their own elite class to survive, bringing all of their people, their family members, their loved ones, whatever, the quote unquote elite, not necessarily a barren wasteland. Because, exponentially that turns into a lot of people still surviving.
Yeah. It's another thing, and this is more a meme that I saw the other day, the idea of, Bill Gates escaping to his bunker and, riding out the apocalypse. And then, Greg, former Navy SEAL with a meth addiction who's been hired onto his personal security detail, when money no longer means anything, he just takes Bill Gates to be his little slave.
There you go.
Yeah. Which is, maybe we'll be saying it from the radiated wasteland or for whatever happens to us. But that is kind of the best outcome of him erasing humanity.
That's definitely the direction a lot of my videos have been talking, because that's a lot of what I've been seeing. But it's wild because I genuinely, I ask myself every day with these files and things that I read, and believe me, they kept me up. They kept me up through the night for days when I read them. They were so scary. I deep dived on the AI part. I didn't get into anything like sex crimes. That was just a place I could not go.
Oh God, it's so bad.
Yeah,
I can't blame you.
But for personal reasons, that was a lane I could not get in. But I stayed in the AI, the throes of AI, and everything related to tech. But I went hard, and all these scientists and all these things. And again, it wasn't necessarily about him. I kind of didn't really give a shit about him or his emails. I was more interested from the scientist POV, what are they saying and what is in their minds that this is so imminent and this is so needed, or that they're so using to grift these elites and saying this is so imminent, this is so needed, and all these things. And that's where it really started freaking me out. It wasn't even from the players we know today, it was the scientist shit that I was like, this is not tracking right. It's not feeling right in my core. Like, it feels like they know something's coming because they targeted the timeline exact. In these documents that I have, it's public fucking domain. I don't have them, but, I highlighted. It's like, we need this 2025 to 2030. And you look and you go, okay, well, here we are, and this is happening.
Yeah, it's a very specific timeline.
Very specific timeline that we're watching play out in real time. And then they actually talked about our job loss and how, this is how deep these got, how we would react to our job loss. It's an essay entitled Tech and Anger, or AI and Anger, or something. And it's like, the people are going to be angry. It'll be like the Industrial Revolution. They're going to be mad that their jobs are being taken, but you need to plow through because, robots don't take vacations and robots don't have fights with their spouses. And, robots are ultimately going to do a better job. So you just have to keep going with the plan. I swear to God, that's in there. And
that is horrific.
Yeah. That was the first email I saw that brought me to my knees, just what the fuck is happening? And I got so angry. Funny, because that's what they said we'd do. But, I've highlighted that in a bunch of my videos. I've actually showed that. It's in the library. It's like, they're talking about 10, 20 years ago, our reactions to now, and plotting for it. As real people, good people, hardworking people are losing their fucking livelihood. You have shitbag billionaires and scientists and elite class planning for what we're going through and how to soften the blow. Get out of here.
I hate that.
Yeah, that's when I was truly I don't care. This channel's going forward. I don't care. Come for me. You know what I mean? Because it's that's so sick. I've seen so many good people. I can't tell you, from around the world. Even when I started this whole crusade on LinkedIn years ago, I had good ass people from across the pond, 50 to 60-year-old copywriters that were like, I'm already out because of ageism. I don't know how to support my wife and my kids. What do I do? I've been doing this my whole life. I don't have another thing to fall back on. I mean, the emails that I have will make you cry. It's so sad. And now I'm looking at these that are yeah, the people are going to be angry. They're going to be angry, but robots don't fight with their spouses or take days off. So just got to plow through like the Industrial Revolution. And
fuck off.
Yeah, I'm just motherfucker.
My mind jumps to that. I'm sure you've seen it. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead.
I'm sure you've seen it. It's the ad in New York. That's just an AI generated picture of a woman, and it just says, "Stop hiring humans."
Yep.
And it's
that's been up, by the way, for a couple of years.
Yeah. No, that's been around for a while.
Yep.
I would give anything to be locked with the person who made that ad in a shipping container with nothing but a bunch of power tools. I would make it last for weeks.
But then,
sorry, continue.
Here's where it gets so screwy. Is things like that that are so blatant. I mean, you're putting it in New York, right? You're making it almost a conversation piece. And this is where the whole thing gets so screwy. I even question anti-AI people now because, I mean, I'm sure you saw Joseph Gordon-Levitt, who I've been a fan of forever, being on a dialogue list. That fucked me up because I have been emailing Gordon-Levitt for 6 months. Hey, man, I don't know if you're seeing the Epstein files. Are you seeing that they planned AI for 25 years and that, they planned our job loss and they planned, because he's petitioning Congress. I'm like, this is the man I need. And then I see him in Peter Thiel's dialogue list and my mind explodes. And I'm like, I can't even trust the anti-AI people or anti-AI community because I do believe they are a controlled opposition.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt is in bed with Peter Thiel?
Yep.
I hate that. that.
He was in the dialogue list and then came out and released a statement saying, oh, I did attend 2 meetings, but I never met him. And you're like, yeah, no one ever met Epstein either. Enough. And I put a comment on that also I had thousands of likes because people were mad. I met him. I met him a long time ago. I was a big fan of him for a while because I used to do these like little short story kind of contest things, and I was just
Yeah, I
a
was going to
fan
say,
of.
I really liked Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I haven't seen him in a while,
Same.
though.
I was a big fan, and he had petitioned Congress on big tech, on their involvement with minors, on AI, being able to have conversations with minors, and all these things, all these like laws and everything. Come to find out, that motherfucker was going to meetings with Teal like 15, 20 years ago, and it's like I now don't even trust the anti-AI community. It was bad enough knowing that there's influencers out there that are getting paid, by the way, 50 to 100K a post pro AI. But
Yeah.
now
I've seen some
I
of that, and that's been declassified. Well, not declassified. It's not a government thing, but that's public knowledge now.
yeah, public knowledge. But now I don't even know about the anti-AI people because I'm 6 months into this run of this library, since I opened the files, which was January. Like, we're this far gone where I'm telling media 2 press releases, tens of thousands of comments and emails, and not one person has picked up on it. I don't buy that. I think they are actually just controlled opposition to keep within their anti-AI frame. Like, okay, yeah, data centers are a little bad. We hate
Yeah.
this. You know what I mean? Like, they're still
Yeah.
puppets. And that is very scary because now you can't even trust who you thought you could trust.
Yeah.
I don't like
But
that.
my worry is when when everything starts to get a little bad, false flags.
Yeah.
Like the idea of like, oh, we need to discredit this movement now, and then I don't know, some like 17-year-old on SSRIs gets a suspiciously expensive AR-15 and goes and shoots up a data center.
Yep.
Like,
oh, it'll happen.
Oh, 100%. And the FBI will be right there with a statement saying this individual was known to us. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little.
Did
paranoid.
You see that China is planting fake stories about data centers being bad, and really they're not bad, and people don't hate them. It's just all China. It's like, no,
I saw that.
People
it's like,
hate them.
Yeah, it's like, all right, well, in order for us to beat China for whatever reason, like,
we are in an arms race, man, big time.
Yeah, which is an insane take.
It's like, an insane take, or it's like, what do y'all know? Because y'all clearly know some. That's all I'm gonna say. They know something's coming. Period. Like, end of fucking statement. You would not deploy. Oh, forget deploy. Rush to market. You rushed it to market when it was sloppy, shitty, and then sold it to all these people like, oh, make a caricature of yourself. And they were like, oh, I'm such an ego fucking maniac. I'll make a caricature of myself. Or I could be a designer. I could be a writer. I could be a creative. Whatever they sold these people on, right? Okay, great, whatever. You got it. You got in the door. But like, you're not going to be putting surveillance on every corner globally overnight for no reason. There's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
Yeah.
I don't 100% know it. I think I know it, but again.
Yeah, and another thing that I see constantly online when people push back against AI is like, well, AI is going to solve the climate crisis. It's going to solve, like fucking
Cancer.
Like corruption in Congress. Like, it's going to make us all equal. Like, it's going to make anyone can be an artist now. That doesn't. Oh my god.
Money doesn't exist anymore. You just think about it and you're rich.
Yeah. It's like you think that the people who are pushing this stuff have a vested interest in making any of this happen? Like, do you think AI is just going to like materialize like a Dr. Manhattan style body and just do these things?
Dude, it's so next level insane. Like, back to like that guy Brian using their own words back from them, but it's just like, you're really telling us we're just gonna like money doesn't matter, and like, you don't get it. You just imagine the life you want and AI will create it. Like this is the most sick, unwell people giving us instructions, the entire globe instructions on how to like support your family, support yourself, put food on the table. Just imagine the dinner you want.
Yeah.
No, it's good.
My mind jumps to Bloomberg, who I've hated for a really long time.
He's
He,
easy to hate.
yeah, he's really easy to hate. Right. This isn't really related to AI, but
It's okay.
like, I think that this is kind of like a peek into how the billionaire mind works. Um, this is kind of like tangentially related for my job and just as a hobby and everything else. I've been into 3D printing for a really long time.
Okay.
Like I've been dicking around with it since like 2014, where I worked in a prop shop and was doing stuff for fucking musical theater and like um,
Yeah, that's
short
cool.
movies and things like that. It was really fun, and I kind of have an idea of how the technology works because of that. Fast forward to whenever Luigi Mangione happened, and you
Like two
had
years ago, I
a
think.
yep,
Yeah.
you have a not a billionaire, but like a rich person, Brian Thompson, getting schwacked by just an everyman who 3D printed a Glock 19 in his house.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't Luigi because he was with me at the time, but
Yeah. Yeah. Clearly. Me too.
yeah, no, we were all hanging out on
I
not Epstein
remember
Island.
that. That was so
Yeah,
fun that night.
yeah,
Yeah.
we were watching Eddington, directed by Ari Aster, an
Yes.
A24 film.
I
But
remember.
but yeah, so a single dude, like one of the protected upper class, is schwacked by someone who could be like an everyman, pretty
Sure.
much. Like people,
Yeah.
we will be like, oh, he's a trust fund baby, whatever. Like, no, this guy wasn't a billionaire. Like he's a lot closer to us than he was to them.
Right.
And however you feel about Luigi Mangione, however you like, there was a bit. I remember when it happened, like everyone kind of came together, and the left and the right, and all of that, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, this is a good thing."
Yeah.
Like finally, it wasn't that he was rich; he was like kind of an objectively evil person.
Right.
Got
Right.
got
Right. Right.
schwacked because the
Right.
system's not protecting us. Someone else, did it. And then the astroturfing started, and the whole like, oh, he was like Brian Thompson, a
Yeah.
loving father.
Yeah.
No, he was not
Yeah.
a lizard. But fast forward to now, and you have a high profile, like upper class, untouchable person getting schwacked by a printed Glock 19 that anyone can build with access to eBay and a couple $100. Suddenly, Bloomberg is lobbying, and this does actually track back to Bloomberg. Donations and lobbying are matters of public record. Like
Sure.
4 or 5 states at the same time are trying to ban 3D printers,
Mm.
and it's kind of like a machinate. Like you're seeing how the billionaire mind works.
Oh,
It's like,
sure.
oh well, someone got one of us. Like,
Yeah.
well, we have to do this like
We
ridiculously
matter.
restrictive thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like the world, well, we know this, right? Like we are collateral damage, the collective we. And this is
yeah,
again why they even created a right, left, red, blue, right? Like it's like
yeah,
let's just make them
yeah. It's all fake.
exactly completely divided
Yeah,
and hate each other until they wake up and realize they should be hating us. And that's exactly
yeah,
what's happening right now. We are in the throes of the turn where we're realizing, oh my God, you had us hating each other when we should be hating you. And they're like, oh no, like we matter, y'all don't. So
yeah.
how do we protect ourselves? Yeah, 100%. I mean, it couldn't be clearer. I think it's going to be a bit of time before the collective universe gets it. I think there's definitely a lot of people. This is the biggest wake up of my life, and I'm not young. Um,
Yeah.
it's definitely the biggest I've ever seen, where people's eyes are wide the fuck open, and
Yes.
that is great. You know,
For people that come on this show, I always kind of ask, and you kind of answered the question early, but I always ask like, hey, what was your moment? Where did you kind of wake up and go like, holy shit, like everything that I've known has
when
been
I
fake
just
and gay this whole time?
when I discovered Edward Bernays, 100%. I even took a picture of my face. So this is a good story. Just to, if we're
Yeah,
going to wrap, this
please.
is a great story to wrap
Yeah,
with. I've been in and out of LA. I've been sort of bopped back and forth between LA and New York most of my life. I'm in Nashville now, but the majority of my life was New York and LA. And
yeah,
again, I was in a lot of very corrupt fields, right? Journalism, music, advertising, probably the top
yeah,
three. And
yeah,
I, for lack of a better term, it's not officially, but unofficially went undercover at the Church of Scientology because I was so curious as to
Your life
how
is so fucking interesting.
it's so.
Sorry, go on.
The autobiography is coming. I promise. It's gonna
Yeah,
it's gonna get me in a lot of trouble. So I've not done it,
yeah,
but at some point it's gonna have to happen. So anyway,
yeah.
I wound up back in LA 2011, 2012, somewhere around that year. And I went undercover at the Church of Scientology because I was just so curious, how do they get people this manipulated, And so I
Yeah.
pretended I wanted to join, and I went to several of their things and, had the conversations, and it was so weird. It felt
Yeah.
like, best way I could describe it is exactly when you buy a car and they're sort of like running off a script and then tagging people in and out that may be able to manipulate you better. So
Yeah.
you're like watching these fucking random movies. It's so weird. And then they have like someone come over, like that guy's not working on me. So like this other dude walks in and he's like, "Oh, I heard you're from New York. I'm from New York, back in the old neighborhood." And he tries to like Italian New York me. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is getting so creepy. Anyway, that night I went home because I was traumatized, and I somehow, I must have just been researching a bunch of different things, but somehow I stumble on Edward Bernays. This man's history, and if you don't know it, you should. Knowing the history of this man is what changed everything for me. I stumble upon his whole backstory, which is wildly interesting, and I'll give you or your listeners 1 minute on it. He was the biological nephew of Sigmund Freud. And and it gets worse. And he would hear his uncle basically doing all these like psychological breakdowns with people and, telling them what was wrong with them. And he decided, he is the man that decided, wait a minute, I can use that to manipulate people in advertising and PR. I just have to tap into their emotions. So
the permanent damage that Sigmund Freud and his ilk have done to just collective humanity.
Oh, wait
is
till
ridiculous.
I get to the kicker.
Yeah.
If you don't know
please. Sorry, I didn't mean to kick you.
No.
Yeah.
So he is. They call him the sort of the godfather of PR. It's really not PR. It's just because advertising didn't officially exist yet, because you're still running on like Telegraph. But he basically puts the first press release out on the first press release, right? Figures out how to get Lucky Strike on the map, Procter & Gamble, all Procter & Gamble. He had all Procter & Gamble accounts. He basically, would have things captured at the right time in the right way. So women smoking at a, like holding a cigarette, Lucky Strike, at a, big sort of event in New York City, bunch of cameras are going to be there. Tell these women to hold up a cigarette and feel manly because it's a phallic symbol and this is a symbol of power. Now that photo goes for what we're going to call 1920s viral, right? Because it's picked up by all these press publications at the time and the Telegraph and all these things. And now women are like, "Oh, I want to smoke," right? And so he found a way. This is very, very weedsy, but he found a way to basically have things at the right place at the right time to constantly manipulate public opinion and mass media. And this is like pre-TV. I mean, this is all going on, like I said, in the 20s, 30s. So now he becomes one of the best, and they hire him on for war slogans. And he comes up with a war slogan for the war with Guatemala, which was, "War is good for democracy." And all these people see that on, now print collateral, which is kind of a big deal. And they're like, "War is good for democracy." Okay, war is good for democracy. And so you see, by the way, this guy also sold out his own wife. This is worth sharing. He got married throughout this. And when he signed in, his hotel that he represented, it was a global hotel, wasn't doing that well or whatever. He needed to put them on the global map. He had his wife sign in that night with her maiden name, because at the time that was so unheard of that it would get global recognition that she just got married and did not take his name. So he made her sign in with her maiden name and then put the freaking press release out via Telegraph to the world that this woman had the audacity to sign in with her maiden name. This way the hotel went viral. I mean, this is how this guy's mind worked, right? And he's noted as one of the greatest and then there's all these stories about how wars were bought and paid for by PR firms, but he basically created the art of public relations. And by the way, he put a bunch of books out being very blatant. His book is called Propaganda. Like, he wasn't trying to hide what he was doing. He was like, here's how you manipulate everybody. Here's all the things here's all the tools, right? Do you want to know who his nephew is?
Who? Now I'm curious.
The co-founder of Netflix.
Are you?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So it goes.
All of this shit's going to make me schizophrenic.
It goes so deep. So I find this out. It's 2012. I'm in my apartment in LA. I read this by myself. I had no one tip me off to it. I just somehow go into this freaking rabbit hole 14 years ago. And my mind is like, what the fuck, right? And I looked at my bookshelf. I'll never forget this. I panned my bookshelf at the moment in my apartment. And it was like everything on it, because I had a book on Charles Manson, who is obviously also very good at manipulating the people to do a thing, right? I had a book on Charles Manson, I had a book on Ted Bundy, I had a book on a bunch of other things, just advertising, and then whatever. It was a pretty large gamut of things, but everything traced back to messaging manipulation and just media manipulation, manipulating the people and propaganda. And I was like, oh my God, like, it's all connected. Media is a lie, number one, and it's all connected. And I took a picture of my face, because I think Instagram had just launched, and I put it up. I still have the picture, but I don't have it on my Instagram. And I was just like, the moment when you connect all the dots, because I was so freaked out. And then I got the rights, actually. I went through the Writers Guild to write a story of Edward Bernays' life. And I had a doctor come in to work with me on it, to like help with the psychology. It was a psychologist, but whatever, to help with the Sigmund Freud parts and everything. And I had it picked up for a 1-episode piece of a larger time travel show at the time, and that's not what I wanted, so I had turned that down. But I still have even the Writers Guild's copyright to writing Bernays' story. Now a lot of people know about him. It's I wouldn't say common knowledge, but he's, because of the Netflix co-founder, correlation that they found, he definitely got a lot more like, this story got a lot more recognized than when I found it out. But that was my aha moment, man. And I'll never forget it. Never.
Yeah. That is, I did
insane.
Not know any of that. And like, I'm a certified, I have a degree in hating Sigmund Freud. So now I kind of want to go down this rabbit hole.
You need to go down this rabbit hole. It's an insane one that you will forever never think the same. It's definitely one of those, you'll never unsee it. It's so bad.
I hate how, like, everyone knows everyone at that level.
Yep.
Like every big name knows every other big name, and also all the other big names that we'd never hear about.
Yep.
Like all these people behind the curtain.
Yep. All connected.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that.
And that's what needs to be exposed, right? Is like, this is why not just the American people, but just globally people, the whatever, middle class, all classes that aren't the billionaire class, need to start realizing we were fucking played. That's it.
Yeah.
When there's that much nepotism, there's that much. No.
I remember having a conversation with a guy, and he was very pro AI. I'm just like, this is slop. Like he told me to that I should embrace it and I should use it to make my work even better, and that if I can't become a millionaire or a billionaire with this, that is, quote, poor people mindset. And I'm just like, you drive a fucking Mazda, dude. Like, you're not one of these people either. Like, I don't know what
that's the gaslight of the century, though. That's how they got him.
Yeah, and it's just like you're a shitty neocon masquerading as, I don't know, like a lawbird or something. But either way, he kept on pushing. It's like, well, AI does.
Is he a millionaire now?
You should embrace it. I don't think so. I ended up.
I don't think so.
This is kind of a little aggressive of me. I made some non-AI art of his head exploding, and he blocked me. But I would absolutely do it again.
Yeah.
But
one thing I
yeah,
want to say there, because I think
yeah,
it's a good sort of red thread to all of it is there's so many people that I fucking hate through this and so
yeah,
much anger. But at the end of the day, I always take a step back now and realize where the genesis is. And it's like even
yeah,
people that far gone, you realize, and it doesn't matter. Not even about AI. I mean about anything, right? Like
yeah,
you realize the genesis of it is all the same people. It's all the same
yes,
people. It's all the same players, right? Where did people get their information from? Their divided opinion from? Their shitty, incorrect information from? Where'd they get gaslit from?
yeah.
Gaslighting to me is the most
There's
evil,
billions of dollars that go into it.
and it's the most evil thing you can do. Like,
Yeah,
in my opinion, if you are signing up and know that you are messing with what someone knows to be true, just to make them crazy or to make them feel bad or whatever, and just planting false knowledge because you just want to mess with their barometer of truth, you're fucking evil. I have never done that a
yeah,
day in my life to anyone. I never would. Your truth is your truth. My truth is my truth. They may not be the same. I'm not going to sit here and shit on your truth when I know I'm wrong and just gaslight you. And that's exactly what AI is. That's exactly what a lot of tech is.
yeah,
So when you see that genesis and you go, man, all these people I'm mad at, whether it's politics or whatever, COVID, blah, 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 right? Doesn't make a difference. It's all the same shitbags that got them there and you here.
yeah. It's a big club and you ain't in it, kind of thing.
It's bad. It's
Yeah.
bad. And it hurts to know they did it by design, just to make us all hate each other. I will never get over that. I'm sorry.
I agree, and there's so much. No, don't apologize. Seeing all the stuff in the Epstein files about how like they were running Reddits and they were running bot accounts and kind of like
Yeah.
Epstein himself was on 4chan, like pushing all these ideologies to purposely make us hate each other more. Like it
Yep.
was very eye opening.
I
Like
mean, when you see Epstein, and first of all, if you even understand that he was intelligence, which most people still don't, which is crazy, but like
yeah,
when you see that he's literally fighting every day about his fucking SEO placement, like
yeah,
that's what he was doing. He was fighting with his Ghislaine's sister's boyfriend or husband, whatever he was. It was his reputation manager. That dude, by the way, was found dead at the bottom of a cliff, so I'm sure he just fell off.
oh
Uh,
yes, no, it was an accident, definitely.
it was definitely an accident, but they were They were all out like fighting. Like the only reason I even looked this guy up, I was like, wow, like why are they getting so nasty to each other? And his whole thing was like boost my positive SEO and boost, all the good I'm doing and all these like that was his big thing. He just wanted his artificial intelligence article seen and how much he's done for science and how much he, boosted the AI community and launched it and all this stuff to counter his 2008 pedophilia charge so that everyone would be like, he's a scientific genius. Like, that's how fucked this is.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so
I hate
crazy.
that. It's like the skin suiting philanthropy thing that all the billionaires do. It's
Yep.
like, yes, we're a good person. I definitely don't eat and or children. Um,
Nope. Bill Gates is an all
God.
around good guy.
Oh my God! Don't even fucking get me started.
Me
Yeah, trying
neither.
to feed his mistress day after pills, or
Yeah.
like, ugh.
His wife, no,
Anyways,
he was giving his wife antibiotics because he fucked two Russian hookers.
oh right, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and he picked up the clap or something.
Yeah, so he's a good guy.
Yeah.
I mean, look, he was looking out for her health at the end of the
Yes,
day.
but yeah, by cheating on her and then
Right.
giving her something. Oh
Yeah,
my God,
drugs.
that's.
Yeah.
I can see now why she quietly and undramatically divorced him.
Yeah, she's
Um,
as far as I know, not a shitbag human and really
yeah,
like a good person that actually believed in philanthropy.
yeah,
But that's a perfect ruse, right? If I
yeah.
marry a
Same
good
with
partner,
yeah, and
who really believes in philanthropy.
yeah. It's kind of telling to see what they do after they divorce their billionaire shitbag husbands, and
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah, Bezos'
Either
wife
way,
too.
yeah, I saw that she's donated like 26 billion,
She
and her
seems
net
like a
worth
wonderful
worth
person.
yeah, her net worth keeps going up, which I'm not going to say makes her a bad person necessarily, but it also just kind of shows how stacked the system is against people who aren't in that status.
Oh, well, that's, yeah,
Like
that goes
how
without
easy,
saying.
yeah, how easy life becomes when you're one of them. Either way,
I
I
mean,
realize
that's
we're
true, but
we're
I'm good with the philanthropy, the actual charitable doing well. I'm
yes,
I'm totally okay with that. Like, good, you're
yeah,
a good human. Show that there's hope and there's good karma. Let's
yeah,
stop seeing just the shitbag criminals thrive.
yeah. Yeah, this isn't me shitting on people for having money, and I'm not shitting on her. I don't
No,
know
same, me
what
neither.
she donates to, and she. I think some of those people near the top are kind of ontologically evil. I have no reason to think that she is. Um,
Right, same.
I don't think people are evil for being rich. I think they are evil. They can be evil and rich for doing the things that they're doing,
Yep,
like these weird societal control plot lines that
yep,
end up with all of us in a pod.
yep.
Yeah. Either way, we are
100%.
twice past where we were
I
supposed to be,
know,
but
I
I'm
know.
enjoying it. Like
But what did I
that's the thing.
say?
I
I
lost
will
track of time.
ramble. I said I
Yeah.
will organically go over and ramble, and that is
No, it's
totally
good.
fine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know that you said that after this, like you're taking a break from being online.
a little
But
bit.
where can we find you? Like
Yeah,
I
so
know. Yeah.
I
Do you have
have
a
a few.
Substack?
I don't. I don't. Uh, Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Initially, this wasn't the plan at all. I just wanted to
Yeah.
launch an anti-AI apparel store. And that is what I
Yeah.
have, shopsiliconsally.com with an IE. Uh, just not just anti-AI, but anti-billionaire, anti-flockhammer, anti
Yeah.
surveillance, right? And because I knew it was all coming. So my thought
Yeah.
was, let me employ a few artists that are out of work, get their designs, and also I wanted to give a kickback to people fighting data centers, like a portion of the proceeds. So,
Yeah.
as I've said, I've been in nonprofit for now 5 or 6 years. So that was the plan. And then the plan didn't go quite as planned because people weren't very anti AI when I started. And I started putting out some content that went a little haywire and across Meta, Facebook, and Instagram. I also have been suppressed like crazy and shadow banned like crazy, and that is to be expected. So, um, the idea though wasn't for me to keep adding more tech to my life at all. And then suddenly I had a YouTube, and I had I had a Facebook page, and I have Instagram, and I have an OnlyFans that is not for porn, by the way.
Yes,
And
I saw that you do that. Like you run OnlyFans like other people run Substack, which is genius. People forget that like OnlyFans isn't just for like
No,
gooner
well, when I
shit.
went
Like
on, it was like comedians and travel bloggers and
yeah.
pottery people, and I was like, wait a minute. Well, then fuck
Yeah, they're
it.
trying to
Like,
push it for that again.
yeah, I was like, I'll just go on there because I felt that the conversations were a little more protected. Like, I don't feel, and I could be wrong, but because the nature of the content is so private and people are literally naked, I was like, this
Yeah.
probably is the least surveilled because it is the most illegal, and they don't have an app because they don't meet app qualifications. They're just a website. So so the app can't get hacked and all these things. So I thought, hey, let me try it. Um, but anyway, I just keep kind of adding to the roster when the point was to leave technology, but I do want to just keep screaming from my mountaintop before I leave why people should be leaving and waking up to this thing.
Yes.
So I'm not trying to
I,
add to
I've
my list, but I
no,
do
I
have a
feel very
website.
similarly.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a website with a blog on it, and it's got a couple of very good things to read. And it has the Jeffrey Epstein AI library. It has my YouTube and Billy Joel rewrite that I don't have any express legal rights to rewrite Billy Joel's song. I hope he doesn't hate me because I love him very much. And if that song ever makes money, he can have every fucking dime. I don't care. But there is a blog, and that's really where I wanted to get people kind of pointed and reading because, by the way, that first blog post is a lot about Edward Bernays. You would probably really benefit from reading that. But that's siliconsally.com. And yeah, for now, man, I'd like to keep that because I'm trying to really stay in the present and just hang with my dogs and, not be manipulated anymore.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good goal to have. I hate to spring one last question on you,
No,
but right
go ahead.
before we wrap up, this is kind of a long-standing thing that we've had going on.
Okay.
A bit of mom advice. Like say your kids are in front of you. Say,
I don't have kids, but
you,
that's okay. Can I still do
know.
it? Okay.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical.
Okay.
Yeah. If you got to give your kids one piece of advice, what would it be?
Oh, gosh, there's so many good ones because my opinion in my 40s has definitely changed from my earlier years.
Yes.
I think to stand like firmly rooted in your truth, because there's so many people throughout your life, and that truth can mean anything, right? Their truth about yourself, like things to be true. For example, relationships where you're not treated right, and this plays kind of back into the gaslighting thing. But jobs will do it. Relationships will do it. People will do it throughout your life. Diminish your worth or diminish your truth, and it's so hard when that's happening to you, when somebody is countering what you know to be true, to stand very firmly planted in what you know to be true and say, I don't care. Like, I'm going to put blinders on and I don't mean don't, entertain good two-way conversations and, maybe, be malleable and flexible in certain things. I mean, your actual truths people will try to take away from you. And it's very, very difficult not to fall for people's bullshit and manipulation at that point. And I just think that's the most important thing, because it's been a theme of my life.
I really like that. I think that's good advice, genuinely. But yeah, Amanda, I really appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Hopefully we get to do a. Sorry, we're getting to that perfect time actually, where my dog has started to bark for attention.
I think our dogs are actually trying to have their own podcast, but whatever.
I can believe that. I just sent you a picture of her stupid face. Anyways, thank you for coming on. Maybe sometime we can do a part 2. Maybe wrangle Brian or something.
Yeah, that would be great. I would love that.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the probably small but vitriolic amount of hate mail that we're going to receive.
You think?
Fuck it.
I don't think so.
Actually, I don't know.
I don't think so.
Ways. Yeah.
I'm on the hopium that you sold me.
Yes, the hopium. No, I'm pretty optimistic too. It's I think like the worst thing that could happen to AI is it's being sold also as like a left versus right thing, as opposed to
100%.
Yeah, So
there should be nothing political about AI. I actually got asked to leave a bar in Nashville for asking somebody if they liked AI because they told me I was bringing up a politically polarizing conversation.
Really?
Yep.
No, there's nothing. It's nothing political about it. There's certain things I think really
I know
transcend politics, and I won't really get into it here. But yeah,
no, that's okay.
Fucking sucks.
Yeah, dude, and that was like 6 months ago. I mean, it's fucking crazy. But yeah, I think even just a check back in, like I'd be interested to see where this growth goes. Like 6 months, a year from now, like how different things are, because and reference back to this because I think things are going to be very different.
Yeah. Well, if you're not living in a homestead with no power or anything, and we haven't been shoved into like Matrix style flesh pods and being harnessed for bioelectricity, I'd love to do a second one.
Dead from nuclear war. Yeah, got it. Okay, cool.
Very possible. Very possible. Don't ask Israel about the Samson Protocol. But yes, thank you very much. I quite appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man.
Anytime. I like this one quite a bit. And for everyone listening, okay, bye.